there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very, a happy Tuesday to you here as we get ready to say goodbye to the month of March. Welcome in April, and with it comes a whole lot of exciting things here at WagerTalk.com, but we are not done with college basketball just yet. We've got a semifinal tonight, NIT. We're going to talk about those games, and of course, we still got to crown a national champion. So a lot to get to, and we're going to do it here today with three of the best as we welcome in these fine, young, upstanding citizens, beginning with mid-major Matt Joseph's up at Kogan looking behind him. Mid-major Matt up top, Steve Merrill right in the middle, and of course, Dave Koken here with you on this Tuesday. And Matt, let me come to you, man, because you have been absolutely on fire. I know you have a NIT best bet up now over at sportsmemo.com, but 11-3 in out of the tournament games here. So you're crushing it, man. Congrats.
Yeah, I find that there's a lot of value sometimes in the NIT and in the CBI and the Basketball Classic. And there's another one tonight, although it's going to be hard for me to hide what it is when I talk about this game, but I'm going to try and do my best. There is one side I really love tonight in the NIT, and also getting set for baseball. Looking forward to that as well.
Love this time of year. So does Steve Merrill over at WagerTalk.com. Still some college hoops, unfinished business here, Steve, but the NBA, they're gearing up for a big couple of months as well, not to mention baseball. A lot going on for you over at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, I thought Matt might try to hide that Gonzaga pennant, but to his credit, he kept it up. But then again, when you only have an Eagles pennant next to it, you can't really hide it with an Eagles pennant, right? So we got to get him some new stuff. I got a Carolina dunk ball behind me, if you see, I've had since the 80s, and it's just a coincidence. They made the Final Four. I actually had them against St. Peter's after they let me down royally against UCLA, but it worked out at least on the rebound game there. I like both Final Four matchups for Saturday. In fact, I like them so much I loaded them already for my clients. I've got both sides posted right now at WagerTalk.com. I've also got my top total available, but it's for clients only. It's not individually for sale right now. It might be later in the week. Wanted people to lock in on some line value there. Just another reason to have a direct subscription. As Ruby said at the beginning, we will have baseball. Matt, Dave, and myself, three of the best baseball cappers you'll find at Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. So it's a great time, as I'm hinting, to get an all-sports package. I've also got an NIT best bet tonight as well. And nobody has won more in college hoops and sides the last 2 years since I joined the site. I've got three strong sides right now in college basketball. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Awesome stuff, Steve. And Dave, congrats coming off another winner last night, college basketball. Coastal Carolina getting it done against South Alabama. They got a good one coming up now against Fresno. But speaking of baseball, number one, 2019 through last season, continuing to crush it. And I understand you've already got 6 win totals, prop bets up and available right now at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, I like over and under win props in baseball, and I made 6. There's a 5% play, there's 3 4% plays, and 2 3%. I think they're all. I mean, I like all 6. One of the 4% is free, and that's one of the overs that I played. And I think I wasn't going to go with more than 5% play, and I was dead set on the 5% play. There was no question about that one. I think this one's real close to being a 5% level play as well. So I would check it out. It's free at my homepage on WagerTalk, which is wt.buzz/DC. Now, one question, Joe. These fine, upstanding young citizens that you were talking. Well, no, I don't qualify anyway, and I got to tell you, I never got called that. Okay? Not even when I was a young citizen.
First time for everything here, Dave. And let's not forget, age is just a state of mind, my friend. Just a state of mind. And we're all young at heart here.
My hip would disagree.
Yeah, well, so would my back. I'm with you there. All right, guys, we have unfinished business tonight to take care of. In fact, at Madison Square Garden, and we're talking championship, so we know it has nothing to do with the Knicks. Let's take a look here at the Bonnies. They're up and ready to rock and roll tonight against Xavier. And the Bonnies, a 1.5 favorite. This was, I saw it as high as 2 at 1 point here over the last couple of days, down to 1.5. The total 142 at the open. This is going to be 7 o'clock here tonight. And a little disappointing season for both of these teams, mid-major, Matt. But who do you think has the edge tonight with the Bonnies and Xavier?
If there was ever a team that perfectly embodies the NIT, it's St Bonaventure. And, you had to be worried that first game whether or not they'd be motivated, considering they're all seniors, considering everything they had hoped to have this year. They hoped to have been playing in the big tournament. Of course, the missed free throws in the A10 tournament kind of cemented that. But once you got past that, this team has played like the squad that kind of belongs in the NIT. A bunch of seniors, a coach who's dedicated to the program, may or may not have spurned UMass. And I really like the Bonnies tonight. I think that with this veteran-laden bunch who's already won 3 straight road games against Power 5 schools, they've already shown everybody they want to be there. Not to mention, Olean, New York is going to descend upon Madison Square Garden. Beer sales is going to be amazing tonight. I take the over on the beer sales for in that building tonight. But you look at how you beat St. Bonaventure, you shoot threes. Well, Xavier doesn't shoot threes very well, 32% as a team. They're towards the bottom in the country. And if you look at Xavier's path, they didn't leave home. They also nearly lost to Cleveland State. They nearly lost to Vanderbilt. And it was close in the first half with Florida, who didn't have a coach and really didn't seem like they wanted to be there. Of course, they pulled away late. I think this is the Bonnies' game to lose here. I think they do everything right. I think their head coach is one of the best in the country that doesn't get talked about. And I just don't believe in Xavier. And I think the Scruggs injury falls here. And I think that everything that Xavier wants to do, St. Bonaventure will have an answer for. I like the Bonnies in this one.
So he likes the Bonnies here, Steve. It's interesting. Xavier has not been what the opposite of a cash cow. Just open the window, throw the money at him. I think 4 out of their last 14 they've actually covered. So a lot of changes with this program coming. But do you think they have enough here to finish the job tonight?
Yeah, like Matt said, it did not look like a good setup in the tournament for St. Bonaventure when it all began. So if you'd asked me a week ago, would they be in the Final Four? I would have said, hell no, because they had to go not only on basically 1 day's notice all the way to Colorado, but then play in that thin air and altitude, and they pulled the upset there. Obviously beat a decent Big 12 team in Oklahoma. And then the Virginia game was an impressive win for me because that was a real slow-down game. St. Bonaventure is comfortable, though, in the half court, and they obviously were comfortable in a very ugly 52-51 game. But let's not forget, because I actually had Virginia in that game. I believe they were up by, 4, as Matt would know, with about 15, 20 seconds to go, and they found a way to lose the game outright. That just kind of sums up the Virginia Cavaliers season. But St. Bonaventure has gotten to the Final Four now. Obviously, all these teams will be focused here. I've got a strong best bet on the side action in this game for my clients, so I'm going to look at the total. You can get my best bet on the side at WagerTalk.com. But there has been some money on the under. We've seen this drop as much as 3 points from the opener. It was as high as 142 briefly. Now it's down to 139. So we've seen some under money. I would agree with that move. First of all, in these, championship-style games, obviously defensive intensity is at the forefront. And if you look at the matchups here, too, Xavier gets a lot of points from the free throw line this season. They actually get the 62nd highest percentage of overall points for any team from the free throw line. St. Bonaventure does not allow a lot of free throws. In fact, they're 336th fewest percentage of points from the free throw line. So I think Xavier's going to have to score elsewhere. St Bonaventure is a slow down half court team. I think they'll be comfortable in a slower pace. And I like under 139 here if you're looking at the total.
So, Dave, I give you credit. Last week we talked about this Xavier squad going up against Vanderbilt and the Scruggs injury. That was the news. And you were the one that stood up and said, listen, I don't know how big a deal that injury really is to Xavier. They got by Vanderbilt without him. What do you think about tonight?
They did. Look, my point on Scruggs, he's a nice player, but I think he's been somewhat overrated. That said, they did miss him in the Vanderbilt game. But what truly struck me was the coaching at the end of the game. I mean, Xavier almost blew the game because they didn't know how to run a simple inbounds play with a couple of seconds left. And I think that's the big difference in this game. You've got a really quality veteran coach on one side who's turned away bigger jobs. I don't think the UMass counts. And that's his alma mater, but they're not. It's not a bigger job than St. Bonnie. But the fact is, I think there's a big edge there with Schmidt against the interim coach. Bonnies are on a roll. They've probably played the best basketball in this tournament. Xavier, I think, is kind of fortunate to still be standing. And now they're not going to have the home court advantage anymore. I think this is going to be more of a St. Bonnie crowd. I believe the line move in this game is correct. The money's been on St. Bonaventure. I agree with that. I'm not going to play either one of these games tonight, but my lean here would be on the Bonnies.
All right, leaning on the Bonnies as they take on Xavier. Madison Square Garden here tonight, guys, should be a good one. There is another game coming up also in the NIT featuring two teams that, maybe playing some of their best hoops right now. Washington State, finally healthy, will be taking on still a very pissed off Texas A&M and Buzz Williams team here. It was a pick 'em. I'm seeing 1.5s here as well with that total having come down. It opened at 136. I'm seeing 133 here, Steve Merrill. Talk to me. Texas A&M is obviously past upset at this point. They're looking to make a point. Do they have enough to take down Washington State and make their way to the finals?
Yeah, it's actually down to 132 now, Joe. So it's continuing to drop. Like you said, it opened 136, and now it's 132 in a lot of spots. So just like the last game, we've seen a 3 and now a 4-point move in this one to the under. And as I said, I think one of the reasons is because odds makers use the overall seasonal stats. I get that, but it's very difficult to price in the intangibles like focused, defensive, championship caliber basketball. So we've seen some sharp money hit the under in both games. And once again, it'd be hard for me to disagree. I think if you're going to play both unders on the blind, you probably split out at worst tonight and go at least 1-1, maybe even a 2-0. Both teams are comfortable in the slower half-court style as well. I don't think that always gets accurately factored in to these lines. Texas A&M also just played a fast-paced game against Wake Forest. Washington State, meanwhile, played a slower game against BYU, a very impressive 19-point win, by the way, in that thin air and altitude of Provo. And one thing I'll point out about the side in this game, Washington State, we talk about that luck factor. We've had a lot of fun this year about how Providence, NC Wilmington, the luckiest teams in the country, and they continue to cover and win. When all these postseason tournaments began, I believe the most unlucky team out of any team to make any of the postseason tournaments was actually Washington State. They were one of the 10 most unlucky teams in the nation this year. And look what they've done. They've now run off 3 in a row, and they have done the last 2 straight up as an underdog. So they were an undervalued commodity coming in. Might be a little bit undervalued in the finals here as well. But if I'm going to play it, I'd play the total. Both teams are 6-0 combined under so far in the NIT. I think it's 7-0 after tonight.
Been an impressive run here for this Aggies team, Dave. But you know what? Washington State, what they've done here in the NIT, they look finally healthy here, and they are playing like it. So what do you think here? Do you give the edge to A&M, or do you like Washington State?
I like both teams. Unfortunately, they're playing one another. I wish these matchups had been different because I would have taken Washington State against either St. Bonnie or against Xavier, and I think I would do the same with A&M against St. Bonnie or Xavier. So I think the two best teams in the tournament are playing in this game. Washington State, they were really good at BYU. That's not an easy place to play. That's one of the better home courts out there. crowd was into it, and Wazoo just spanked them in that game, and BYU was terrible. Now the problem here for Washington State might be in the matchup, where you beat A&M is if you can force them into turnovers, because they don't take good care of the basketball. They really haven't all year. It's been a problem for them. Washington State really doesn't pressure the ball that much. I don't think A&M is going to have the turnover problems against this style of team they have against some others. I don't know what to do with this game. I think Washington State is a very slightly better team, but it's negligible. And the Aggies still might be pissed off. I mean, they've played like it this tournament. Okay, I mean, you don't know how things are going to go when a team feels they got snubbed. But if they get interested, and A&M's been interested, watch out. I think A&M's, got the bullseye here. They want this tournament. They want to send that message that we absolutely belong in the big dance. So I guess if I had to play it, I'd probably go along with the market on the game. They've bet the Aggies, but I can't make a case to actually put money on the game. So I'm going to just pass the game with a very, very slight lean to Washington State.
Listen, Texas A&M. Yeah, listen, the winner of this game could very well just be the winner of the NIT. They're playing that well right now. And Matt, the big movement has been on the under. Defense here. Do you agree with that market move, and how do you approach this game?
Well, these are much like Dave. I mean, these are two bet-on coaches, too. I mean, I love Buzz Williams. I think Buzz Williams will have his guys ready for this game tonight. And I love Kyle Smith, and I just love what he's done for this program. And you mentioned it in terms of the health. I mean, Washington State has not had their full strength and full complement of players a lot this year. The thing I kind of look at here is I think Texas A&M is a slightly better SMU, only because Texas A&M is about the size of SMU. Texas A&M does not have a ton of big guys. And what Washington State did when they went to SMU, who was the same exact team that was very small, they went and got every rebound. I mean, it was incredible to watch how many offensive, I think they had 20-plus offensive rebounds in that game, and that's why they won. And that's kind of why I lean to Washington State here as well. Washington State has the massive advantage. They have 3 6'10" or above guys, and they're competent too. Like, it's nice to have size, but some teams have size and they're not very competent. Those are 3 very solid big men. And I do kind of think that Washington State's going to turn over Texas A&M just a little bit. And I think Texas A&M, who relies on turnover, isn't necessarily going to be able to do so to Washington State, who's 50th in turnover percentage. So I kind of, it's not my favorite game of the night because I like stuff in the Bonaventure game more, but I kind of lean to the Pac-12 team. Once again, also, and I know this is not necessarily part of the handicap, the SEC has been terrible in the NCAA tournament. Now, that doesn't necessarily carry over to Texas A&M, but it is a factor in this that the Pac-12 has looked pretty good, whereas the SEC has not. I lean to the underdog here, and I put a small wager on, just some pizza money. I think Washington State can win this game outright.
All right. Well, it's all going to be decided here tonight. Both teams, both winners of those games, guys, will advance. That final will be Thursday, and of course, we'll be back on Thursday there. We'll break down that final, whoever it may be. And Dave, before we get out of here, though, are you leaning one way or the other, guy?
Well, I want to mention something. Ralph Michaels has been incredibly hot with his 5% plays. I don't know what the winning streak is. I think he's got 6 or 7 in a row. And he has I don't know what it is, but he has a 5% play going in the NIT tonight. And it's $2 Tuesday, and he's the $2 capper. So if you want the best value that's out there tonight, it's real simple. Go to Ralph's page at WagerTalk. I think it's wt.buzz/RM, and get his 5% play for $2. I got to check my email because I do get Ralph is nice enough to send. We swap plays, so I got to check my email and see what he's going to play. So I'm going to save the $2, but I would be tailing Ralph at this point. He's had a great run of the tournaments, and these 5% plays have been gold. And as far as my best bet tonight, by the way, it's just a lean. So take it with a chunk of salt, but I'll go St Bonaventure.
The old chunk of salt for Bonnies. By the way, Ralph, 6 straight 5% winners, guys, going for his 7th for $2 tonight. It is in one of these games here in the NIT. So head on over for just $2. You can't go wrong here. Ralph has absolutely been crushing it. And Steve Merrill, talk to me here and remind the folks there, NBA tonight again, college hoops. I know you're locked and loaded, so tell us who you think you might like here tonight on the card, and what else you got coming up at Wager Talk.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, baseball starts next week. Last year I was number one in MLB totals, 45.5 units won in just totals alone. Number one in NBA sides the last 11 months, over 109 units won. And then, of course, as I said earlier, number one since I joined the site 2 years ago in all college basketball sides the past 2 years. You really might want to consider an all sports subscription, because right now I've got 3 Final Four best bets for Saturday, both sides, and then a private total, which is for my clients only right now. I haven't loaded that yet. I might do it later this week as a single play, but I've got 3 best bets for the Final Four. Also, that strong NIT side best bet tonight. So you're getting 4 plays right now out of the gate when you sign up for a direct all sports subscription. So I highly recommend checking those out at wagertalk.com. I'm going to look at a free total tonight on Tuesday. We've seen both unders move quite a bit in the NIT semifinals, 3 and 4 points each. I agree with both moves. I think these will be defensive games. I like the under in the St. Bonnie Xavier game a little bit more, probably if I had to choose between the two. Under 139, St. Bonnie and Xavier under. The matchups, first of all, you look at pace. Xavier overall in the season has a high tempo rating. St. Bonaventure doesn't. But I think that's a little misleading, because if you look at the defensive possession lengths for both teams, they're both slow down their opponents. So both defenses slow down their opponents well below the national average. So I don't think it matters necessarily who wins this game as far as the side if it's correlated. I think both defenses are going to play tough, slow down half-court defense in a semi-championship, semifinal game. And I like the under here. I agree with the money move. It's dropped a bit, opened as high as 142 down to 139, 39.5. It's still not low enough. Take under 139, St. Bonaventure and Xavier. A good defensive half-court battle in Madison Square Garden at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight on ESPN.
Yeah, both games priced as one-possession games in the marketplace. And what do you think here, mid-major Matt? I know you kind of lean towards the Bonnies game there, but do you have one that you like maybe a little bit more than the others?
Yeah, the client play tonight is in the Bonaventure game, so therefore I'll go to the other one. And as I said, it's not my strongest play. It's a lean, but I like Washington State tonight for pizza money. I think that Kyle Smith's going to have a great game plan tonight. I think they're going to play volleyball around the rim. I think that when they miss shots, they're going to get a lot of offensive rebounds here, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. And as Steve said, with regards to baseball coming up, I mean, I don't know if anybody else actually did K props, but I was definitely number one, 57% in the strikeout props last year. I'm looking forward to kind of matching that success once again. And I was definitely glad to see that Dave's free play agrees with one of my win totals, because I'm very high on that baseball team as well. Go to his page and check it out, because I definitely agree with it 100%. But you can find my stuff at sportsmemo.com.
All right, good stuff there, guys. And I know Dave mentioned it, Steve's mentioned it, and of course, we just heard Matt mention it. Baseball just around the corner, guys. Dave told you he's got 6 over-under win props available right now, including a 5%er, guys. He crushed that 5% future prop last year with the Texas Rangers, who were just horrific. He called it in the beginning. He's got 6 he likes, including a free one right now, guys, if you want to head over to Dave's page at wagertalk.com. Steve is absolutely correct, guys, with all that is going on right now. NBA playoffs just around the corner, baseball, man, getting those all sports, all access packages, the way to do it. Visit Steve Merrill at Wager Talk, and mid-major Matt Josephs, K-props, props in general, guys. He has been crushing it at sportsmemo.com. Visit his page as well. And make sure you take advantage of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all access packages. Does have a best bet tonight he loves in the NIT. So don't forget also Ralph Michaels, $2 handicapper at Wager Talk. His 5% best bet going for number 7 in a row at wagertalk.com. All right, guys, that does it. A quick recap here of what we've got going on tonight here. If you're just joining us, Dave, he is leaning with a pound of salt. Minus 1.5 there. He's going to lead with the Bonnies. Merrill, he likes the under 139 Xavier game. Matt's leaning towards the points. Give him the 1.5. Even 2's popping up with Washington State, and I'm gonna split the difference. I think it's going to be a brutal first half, and I think the under 65.5. Not a bad way to look at that game as well. And guys, don't forget, we'll be off tomorrow. We'll be back Thursday as we will know who the final in the NIT is. And of course, we'll begin to break down those final 4 matchups. So make sure you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. You'll get notified when we go live. We'll be back again Thursday. Until then, on behalf of Dave Koch and Steve Merrill, Mid-Major Matt over at sportsmemo.com. Guys, thanks for hanging with us. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Good luck.
Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.